Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I wanted to offer you my criticisms and opinions of the Call of Duty World War II PC beta. Most of the gameplay you're going to get to see is me using the Type 100 SMG, rushing, suppressed only, and of note in that game I've got about 150 milliseconds of ping, or 2 barring, because I'm playing with Ali Mew on EU servers. It's not normal, but I just hopped in to play with her on her server, so it'll be a little choppy. The assault rifle gameplay later on will have much better connections. My short opinion of the beta is that it is far from flawless, but it is a good port, and I do want to be very clear and specific that it is a port, and it is not a full-on game designed for PC like PUBG, CSGO, Battlefield 1, something like that. And I mean that in the best possible way, because performance-wise, it's good or acceptable for most players. For most players, it seems to boot up and run just fine. I believe all the angry people on Steam and Reddit and Twitter are outliers for the most part. Of all of the PC Call of Duty games that I have played since Black Ops 2, this one has been the most easy to access with the least amount of bugs, the least amount of crashing, and the best optimization. Mine ran flawlessly with no hiccups whatsoever. I think I had one restart when I was like 10 minutes into live and there was some update they pushed through, and I've had my mouse freeze a few times, but that's because of a driver conflict on my PC that it happens in Overwatch and stuff too. I'm still trying to sort that out, but I haven't had crashes, I haven't had jitter, I haven't had stutters. It's been a good experience so far. However, I do want to add a disclaimer here. I am a filthy console peasant. I've been playing consoles for a long time, and recently in the past year I've been trying to ascend to PC Master Race godhood. I only play this game at 1080p 60 FPS with my FPS capped at 60, and I do this because OBS and my stream and everything else runs at 1080p 60, so I just run the game at 1080p 60 so I can capture at 1080p 60. There's no sync issues, there's no additional stress on the computer or anything like that, and I think that that is not normal for PC players. Most PC players that I talk to, even other streamers and stuff because they have different standards, booted up the game and they wanted 90 FPS plus. A lot of people were running at 120 to 150 because they like high frame rates. It's nice, it feels smooth. I've played quite a lot of 120 FPS or 150 FPS other games, and it's a great feeling, but it just doesn't match with what I'm doing with content creation. Many players will also be playing at a higher resolution. 1080p has not been the, let's say, standard for PC gaming in a long time. 2K and 4K is much more common, so there's a lot of people playing the game in way more demanding settings than I am, and it's not going to run well at the higher resolutions, and it is especially not going to run well at the higher frame rates. For whatever reason, the old weird bugs that are coming back from older PC ports, such as high frame rates being associated with mouse input scaling and with game stutter. For some reason, the sensitivity on your mouse is tied to the frame rate in some capacity. So if you have big swings up and down in frame rates because your graphics card or computer is doing something, your mouse sensitivity will change and it will throw your aim all to hell. And it can also cause it to stutter for some reason. I don't know why that happens. I'm not a coder or a programmer or a QA guy. I couldn't tell you, but it does happen. And that is going to really irritate PC gamers that are playing at really high frame rates, especially if their frame rate isn't capped and they're pushing their system for maximum frames all the time. I would strongly recommend, if you're going to play at a higher frame rate, you put it at a very specific cap that you know is going to be very stable. This is completely untested on this modern version, because I know there's been engine improvements to Call of Duty games, but for the last, we'll say, great many Call of Duty games, high frame rates can affect your movement speed, jump height, and the rate at which your guns can shoot, because the game's engine is quite old and it thinks in frames. We've talked about this a lot on In-Depth in the channel, and loads of players had issues because of frame rates. Thus, they had the bad Steam reviews and lots of other sort of things. So just please try to cap it at a nice lower end stable frame rate. And of course, it's a PC beta, truly a beta. PCs are inherently more complex than consoles. Every console, let's say, we'll use PlayStation 4 for example, since PlayStation and Sony are the primary platforms for Call of Duty now. Every Sony PS4 has the same chipset, same processor, same graphics engine, same everything, so you can optimize it very well to run for everybody that's got a PlayStation 4. PCs have thousands of different graphics cards, thousands of different processors, RAM, motherboards, thousands of different user settings, which lead to millions, if not billions, of different unique user combinations, and because of this, different configurations, optimizations, and other things might be really bad for some players. I saw some people that I legitimately believed had beastly computers, but because of some weird driver conflict, error, optimization, shader problem, NVIDIA GeForce 3 layers deep in the advanced settings, on, off, true, false value, something, had a horrible experience. And unfortunately, that is just how PC gaming goes. Other higher-end PC gaming games tend not to have those issues because they're designed just for PC, and this one is a port. So I think that it is very well optimized around 1080p, 60 FPS, and it should work well there for almost everybody, and it's going to work as if you are playing a console game on PC. Now, most of my frustrations with the PC version and criticisms are not stemming from its optimization issues. And I know the master race, mustard race people are very big on that optimization, but my frustrations come from a user standpoint. The menu system and user interface is, well, lacking. It was clearly shamelessly copied from the console version. Clicking the buttons and scrolling around feels kind of awkward. You control your tabs and stuff with WASD. Oddly, like A and D move your tabs left and right, and W and S is up and down, which is a little goofy. But you don't even use the arrow keys, which I don't even understand. Scrolling on it feels uncomfortable. If I scroll down my friends list, or I go to my user settings and I try to scroll, every scroll down on the mouse wheel is just one single tick. So to go to the bottom, I have to scroll like 50 times and work my finger really hard. There's dumb stuff like you select a friend and then you hit F2 to join your friend, which is a setting I've never seen. The first couple times I played, I couldn't figure out how to quit the game. I just wanted to exit and I couldn't find it. Apparently, you have to go to your game settings and then under main, there's like go back to main menu under your settings, like where you would change your keybinds and stuff. And then you go out to the main menu and then you can exit the game. And I want to be snarky and be like, who built this? Was this built by clowns? It wasn't. I know it's just the console interface that's been lifted. It's very clearly that it's been lifted from console. It definitely needs some work because it's not comfortable or fun to use. There's other things such as I can't invite non-friends to my lobby. If you're not on my friends list, you can't play with me. I love that on PC games, and I used to be able to do it on Xbox. PlayStation 4 is dumb like that. You can't. I could just type in your username and invite you. But now, if you're not my Steam friend, I can't invite you. So I tried to do sub-lobbies. That made it hard. There's no server browser of any kind. And, I have mixed feelings for that. People abuse servers, and some people only play the same maps over and over, and you need a big population for the matchmaking to work. But server browser is a really common thing for PC games, and it's very nice to have if possible. It's been kind of standard to not have it, but I wish it were there. The default keybinds left much to be desired for me, especially when it came to moving the equipment, working the score streaks. The grenades, I felt a little awkward on E for equipment. That wasn't too bad, but G for grenade, it made it to where I couldn't walk around with WASD while holding down G. It just felt strange. Like if I wanted to move right, I would have to adjust my whole fingers. I think it could be a different button. I'm going to end up binding it to a different mouse button. I've got a lot of like Steam controls and like shortcuts and hotkeys on the mouse that I'm hoarding, so that could be easily fixed. Stance modifiers were a little strange as well, but I fixed all of those things. The default in-game mouse sensitivity felt goofy. The keybinds and mouse sensitivity are petty complaints. They're easy fixes, but it just felt awkward to boot it up and it just didn't feel quite right. Graphically speaking, this is not PC Master Race level graphics. You're not going to turn this on and see unicorns and trichomes and get your cancer cured and just blow you away and stuff like that. That's not what this is. This is a functionally scaled version of the console game. It's the same textures, the same graphics, the same options, but just scaled up as high as that engine will allow or as high as the default files are, and you can max it out, and it's going to look like a much better version of the PlayStation 4 game. In no uncertain terms, my PC version is much prettier than the PlayStation 4 version, but it's not ever going to be as pretty as a true PC game. On top of that, I have no idea about servers. I tried to check for dedicated servers and tick rates and stuff like that, but my NetDuma failed me today. For some reason, it wasn't registering for some reason. I don't understand why. It's very easy to do. I tested it out during the console beta, and I could see that all dedicated servers were live and functional. I assume that they are for PC. There would be no reason not to have them, but for some reason, the NetDuma was in a very uncooperative mood. Moving along, let's talk about weapon balance and war mode. They are heavily built around console. They've just kind of been translated over directly to PC. The submachine guns have been nerfed since the last beta. Functionally speaking, they're a lot more fair. They're still beefy on PC though because of how easy it is to aim with the mouse and keyboard. The nerf is probably going to be very good for console. Looking at the range and the damage and how they work, I think SMGs are not going to be as dominant on console anymore, but they're still pretty nasty on PC, and they still really outclass weapons like light machine guns. I really enjoyed using the light machine guns on console. On PC, you literally can't do it. Half a second of aim down sights time is too late because you're already dead, and people just map you with the grease gun. Sniping and DMRs in general are downright savage. Kind of expected that. The meta is going to be very different. It's going to be very pick heavy. It was especially difficult when I was trying to build the bridge on war mode. That is always a hard spot. That's the biggest choke point in war mode. It was not easy on console by any measure, but on PC it was downright brutal with everybody sniping me with their mouse and keyboard. Personal complaint of mine, playing this game, I've learned just how bad I am at tracking targets on PC. My snap aim is pretty good, positioning is pretty good, keyboard work is good. Tracking a moving target, I'm kind of trash-a-roni at, and I think it's because I keep expecting sticky aim. I've always played Call of Duty with sticky aim for hipfire, sticky aim for aim down sights, and my brain sees this visually being the same game, and I keep expecting that and over-swiping the target, so I miss quite a lot. That's nothing wrong with the game. You don't want sticky aim. You don't want any goofy stuff like that on the PC. As far as the mouse scaling, the inputs, the tracking, the XY axis, responsiveness, input delay, all of that, it was fantastic. I was just trash at it. It was good, I was bad. So my final review here at the end is, I'm going to put it to you in two questions. If you're looking at Call of Duty on PC and you ask yourself, do you want a functional, normal, good feeling Call of Duty experience on PC that is roughly the same as console, then you should buy Call of Duty World War II on PC. It looks better than the console version. If you don't do insanely high frame rates, it's going to perform just as well. All the features is there, and it's not crashing, and it's very playable. It feels like a good port. However, if you're looking at Call of Duty World War II on PC and you say to yourself, I want a true PC game. I want a PC game that's built from the ground up for PC, with PC options for PC players, with all this, PC stuff that I've been doing for a long time. Call of Duty World War II isn't your game. At the end of the day, it's not a true full-on PC game. It's just a really well-done port. And that is my opinion on it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.